my mother would go out to the where Phillips lived and pick up the children and bring them to Sabbath school on Sabbath. And then Jean began to come to church too, and later on had Bible studies and was baptized in the little river there, not too far from our house.
And you know we're not open on Saturdays because of the religious materials you steal today.
Yes, and I think that's a great thing.
Do you remember what the mill was like there?
Oh, yes. It was a big, noisy thing. In fact, right across from their house was where the log pond was. And there was, at that time, 3 large mills. One of them did exclusively redwood, and the others did fir, madrone, whatever they could get. And the mill that was closest to our house, there was a real steep hill that we had to drive up. And when we would see a logging truck come to the pond, we would always have my mom stop so we could watch them dump the logs into the pond. That was a great activity for us when we were young.
Do you remember anything about Cecil specifically, like any stories or just anything specific about him?
Well, I was pretty young. I was probably 8, 9, 10, somewhere along in there. I just remember him as a happy guy, loved his family, and would join in whenever we had the schoolhouse close to where we live, and where we had church was where we also had gatherings where we would have potluck dinners or maybe play games or that kind of thing, and they would always join in with us. So
you're from near Eureka, California?
Yes.
And you're living in Washington now, and you're driving across the country geocaching?
That's correct.
So you're driving from Washington, and you stop through here, and how long has it been since you've seen our family?
Well, I saw Reg and Chuck I think once each, when they stopped by, and I can't remember how long ago that was, but I've not seen Jean since you all left, which was in 1958, I think. Talked to her on the phone a few times, but...
Are you surprised to see that this is here because of that there in Redwood Creek, California?
Yes. It's just been, to me, it was just a real blessing to see how God led in their lives and bringing them here. And when we got here and I saw the business, I knew there was part of it, but didn't know there was 3 parts. And it's just been fun for Chuck to show us around what his dad started and how it grew from there, how they worked. We've had lots of good conversations about how he was young, worked in the mill with Dad, and then took it over, and how Mom was there raising the children and supporting in every way she could, too.
You mentioned earlier about the mill and the waste. Can you tell us a little bit about lumber yards or sawmills back then versus what you've seen today?
Yes. When we were young back there, they had great big teepee burners, and anything that was cut off from the boards that were, I guess, what people wanted, the right size, was just thrown in the burner and burned. There was big piles of sawdust that would burn. The forklifts would just take in all this material and they would just burn it. And now, as I walked around the shop and looked at things, and we went out to the shop in Hooks and saw the beautiful tables and things that they're making, the butcher blocks and all those things, just amazing how everything now has a use, not just burned up.
I remember in the 80s, you could see the fire from the sawmill from town, from here. Exactly. I mean, you could see it. It was like a tower of fire. And yeah, so that is something that I think that, we are actively working on to try to correct. Is there anything else you could think of from the Redwood days? Like my dad was born in the car on the way to the hospital on the logging road. Is that?
That's correct. And I remember we were 40 miles northeast of Eureka, so it was a long ways to town. And in those days, we didn't get to town very much. In fact, most times my mom would only go to town once a month when my dad got paid to buy groceries and that kind of thing. And so we had to figure out our own entertainment. And one of the things that was my mom always enjoyed doing was giving baby showers. And I remember her giving a baby shower when Jean was expecting Chuck. And that was always a fun time for everybody because we'd get together and a lot of us children have time to play while the ladies were opening gifts and enjoying their time together.
So tell us a little bit more about the land. Is it still a logging?
There's no logging there now, as right in that specific area. There's still a lot of redwood trees and, a lot of trees around, but the mills have all closed down that were there. In fact, when I was talking to Reg last night, he was commenting about when he had gone there and how different it all looked because it's so grown up. But the pond areas are still there. You can still see the shape of the ponds.
I know you got to get on the road. Is there anything else you want to throw in there? Or?
I just want to say that it's been such a blessing for us to be able to be here and be with a family after all these years of not being together. It was just a joy to see this business and how it has progressed and how it's stayed in the family. And it looks like it may stay in the family for a lot of years, and I'm very pleased about that.
Well, we've got me, my brother, and my sister between us have 4 sons that are all within 3 years. My brother and my son are within a month apart.
Oh, wow.
You not seen any pictures of those guys?
I did.
Yeah, they're like, gosh, they're thicker than thieves, those two. I walked in the other day and the 3 of them, my sister's kid, my brother's kid, and my kid were all in the playroom and there were toys strewn everywhere. Through the hallway, I said, all right, who did it? And all 3 of them looked at each other and then looked at me and they all went, I don't know.
Total kids.
It was funny because no rats in that group, So that was cool. Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.